good. All right, here we are. First play of the game. Outside zone. Boot action. Oh my god, he had Justin Jefferson. Kirk. Kirk, what are we doing here, buddy? Holy crap. So, I mean, this is about as clear as you can get to me right here that you have Justin Jefferson wide open. Like, there is nobody who can impact this throw, Kirk Cousins. That dude is not driving on that football. That is a completion. Oh, boy. Why, dude? Just what? Just why? Like, oh my goodness. This is awful. Like, so a lot of times on these boots, like, Kirk's been running, but he just doesn't, he's been running because there's nobody covered down the field, but they have nobody here. Like, look at how much space Justin Jefferson has. That's crazy. He should have hit. Absolutely should have hit that, and he gets kind of lit up at the end there. I mean, it's still a 7-yard gain, but you had like 25 yards. All right, let's see the end zone angle here. So, Cleveland kind of whiffs on 91. Roquan runs up the middle. I think once Roquan runs past Bradbury here, he's got to come off of it and go up to 44 rather than turning around. Let CJ Ham make the adjustment. And if he does that, you kind of have space here. I think Dalvin can get up in past 91, and he kind of does if Bradbury's on 44. But because Bradbury kind of turns around, blows up the play there. So that's not great. I think once he runs through like that, you just got to work past it as the offensive lineman. Because you're not catching up to him. So that's the point. Really nice. So, Bears empty everybody out of the formation pretty much, and you've got zone coverage. So the reason this is zone coverage is the Vikings going to empty. You have Dalvin Cook up top here, right? And this is a corner on Dalvin Cook. You've got a linebacker, Roquan Smith, on KJ Osborne. Kirk recognizes this pre-snap, and I think that's why he goes that direction. All KJ needs to do is sit in the zone, which is what he does, and Kirk hits it. Like, that's nice recognition here, ability to just find a space in the zone, get that third down conversion, move the chains, another set of downs. End zone angle here. So, pretty decent job picking up the stunt by the offensive line. You've got Bradbury working that way. Cleveland looks for work and gets the guy coming back across. Bradbury and Cole work on that guy. Ball comes out quick, so pressure doesn't really matter. Darisaw on the back end. Nice job. I mean, all he's got to do is work Quinn upfield, but, gets him on the ground. That's nice. Motion, zone to that side. Cuts it up 3 or 4 yards. Alright, so the Vikings run this motion like a ton. This is Amir Smith-Marset motioning that way. I think they think it gets them better cutback lanes, or I'm not really sure exactly the reason, but you have this double team looking up to the linebacker, and that's probably where they miss. Yeah, so Cleveland and Darisaw working up to the linebacker just don't get on their guys, and the backside contain is there as well. But, 3-yard gain, I guess you're okay with that on first down. Oh, this is the CJ Ham one. So this is play action. They want a shot play. Jefferson's double covered. Really, the linebackers here undercut anything with this curl to Osborne. So he checks it down. And they're doing a 7-man protection, so it's really deep to check down. With none of these guys there, he's got to check it down to CJ Ham. I'd like to see like a single Vikings player make a defender miss in space. They seem to be able to make our guys miss in space. Ooh, Conklin, whoever 55. Oh, that was Darrisaw. Nice. He just shoves him to the ground. But yeah, not really much defensive line can do there with the 7-man protection. So this is another third down. Motion into a bunch formation here. You've got Jefferson, Smith, Marset, and Osborne on that side. So you've got Conklin as the lone guy to this side. And I think this is the shot play Kirk takes, where you've got Conklin on a linebacker. You like that matchup. Kirk likes taking those deep shots. I mean, we've hit it so many times this year. We hit it to KJ Osborne. We hit it to Conklin earlier in the year. Do we even hit Madison on one? Like, Kirk, we hit CJ Ham on one. Kirk loves taking this shot, and it was just, a foot or two long for Conklin, just not quite there. I think it's fine to take that matchup on third and short. You want the explosive plays. And what else do you have here? You got a slot fade. So Jefferson is the point man here. You've got kind of a slot fade action from there. You could probably throw that side, but you have the safety capping it a lot better than there is on this side. This is just a pure one-on-one matchup with the linebacker, and that's Alec Ogletree, who's like bad in coverage. So I don't hate that. You've got a couple slants across the formation, but Kirk's already decided to take that throw before he could read anything else, and I don't hate the decision. I think it's a fine choice. We've done it a number of times this year, and it's worked for explosive plays a bunch, so I'm not too worried about it. Punt team, missing Dan Chisena, that's for sure. Look down here, whoever that is gets absolutely blocked out of the picture, and then whoever that is, that's probably Boyd, misses, but at least he drives him to the sideline. Not a terrible job corralling him, it looks like. A 5-yard return, you'll take that. Okay. Here onto defensive side. Okay, I mean that's a massive hole that they just blocked up. Is that Sheldon got totally washed out of the picture? Kendricks, stuffs the hole, but he's able to cut back past guys. Harrison slipped, it looks like. So this is probably, if Harrison Smith doesn't slip on the turf here, this is probably a 2-3 yard gain. But because he does, it turns into like a 9-10 yard gain. So actually, one of the things I was concerned about after watching this game is, especially in the first, I don't think the Bears ended up with good rushing statistics, but it was like they would either get tackled for a loss or they'd get like a 9 or 10 yard gain in the first half. So I'm definitely interested to see going back what was the cause of that. You got Michael Pierce doing a phenomenal job eating a double team here. Like, he's not losing ground at all. He's got 2 guys on him. He doesn't really let them get up to Kendricks. Because if the run were to go to this hole, that lineman, 67, would not have been able to get up to Kendricks in time to prevent him from making the play. Good job seeing this, cutting back. Tomlinson almost gets off his block, and Harrison Smith falling down is really the issue. So, there you go. Oh, did they get called for holding on that? Must have been a hold against 76 on Dalvin Tomlinson. I kind of forgot about that. So, fortunate for the Vikings. Really good coverage by Eric Kendricks here. So, he's on this tight end. He's got 3x2. He's kind of responsible for the number 3 here. right? So the number 3 is the running back. The number 3's out fast, which means actually Barr becomes responsible for him. And then Kendricks is kind of working to that side, undercuts this route by the tight end really nicely. I don't know if he got a hand on this or the tight end just dropped it, but really nice job by Kendricks on this play. Because, right, the tight end is here and he's running an out-breaking route, and Kendricks has to get all the way across the formation to impact this play. And I think he got his hand in there too. So that's great stuff. That's why he deserved to make the Pro Bowl, which he did not, but the Pro Bowl voting's totally broken for linebackers. So yeah, that is what it is. If you guys do have questions, or you wanna make points or whatever, type them in the Tape Munchers chat, and I'll be monitoring that just to take a look at it. Comments, questions, whatever. Something you'd like me to look at or whatever. Let's see. Okay, I mean, this is just defensive line muddling up the middle. Good job by Wanham, really, on the tight end. Compressing it in. Barr gets outside. Everybody gets in on the tackle. Pearson, Tomlinson. They've been playing great since they came back. Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce. It's a great combo to have in run defense for sure. Okay, this is just, third and forever. Play soft coverage. Make sure nobody gets past the 6. They check it down, rally and tackle. You got 3 guys there making the tackle. So, force a punt, get off the field. 3 and out for the Bears. Nice defensive series. Punt. Okay, I do like this from KJ. Getting straight up field. DD had a tendency to dance around a little bit, but KJ getting straight up field, get the ball at the 45. Okay, so kind of interesting screen design here. You're really, you have nothing to this left side after the motion for KJ. You want to get these guys upfield by running vertical stems. And I think they do a pretty good job of backing the defense off. The only problem is they're unable to block Roquan Smith, right? Who makes a great play, splitting the 2 linemen. Really did a good job reading this. Otherwise, I feel like this is going to be a pretty nice game. Now, maybe, you did have 2 guys, but the offensive lineman should have been able to get up here and wall this guy off if Roquan gets cut off. So Dalvin's able to get back inside and get upfield, get a few yards. But good job rallying and tackling by the defense. The Vikings screen game really hasn't worked all that well this year, which is pretty frustrating. So definitely something they probably want to go back to the drawing board on. Okay, quick pass out in the flat to Dalvin. He does make a guy miss, but he doesn't really do too much. Or he doesn't even really make a guy miss. He just gets getting tackled. Yeah, we're just watching the tape on Vikings Bears. So goes out. Pass into the flat. This next play will be the Justin Jefferson first down. So Bears, okay, you can kind of see before the snap that they're bringing a blitz, right? You got guys coming up. Vikings have a 4-by-1 formation, which is kind of interesting. And with the way the Bears are covering this, you really only have 4 coverage players over these 4 receivers out there to the left. So that's kind of interesting the way they do that. They get KJ Osborne into this area, and Justin Jefferson just ends up functionally having a one-on-one with the corner. So what the Bears are trying to do is use this player to help cover this side of the field, right? So if we go here, this player's responsibility is the wide receiver number 3 running across the formation. He needs to cut that, which he does. But because this linebacker from the inside has to cover this tight end here, when he releases out, Justin Jefferson is wide open in the middle. Right? You got the deep safety coming back. Corner's playing outside leverage. Like, that corner has absolutely no chance in that situation. It doesn't even need to be Justin Jefferson there. He just has no chance. Protection on the blitz, pretty good. Honestly, I mean, Hicks is kind of a monster, but that's a good enough job by Bradbury and Cole to stop him, because so Kirk knows he needs to get this ball out fast. You can backpedal in the pocket a little bit. So okay, I formation, pitch. So I heard that's just the 2 running backs right behind the quarterback. That's called I formation. So something, I forget who I heard talking about this, but there was another team, maybe it was the 49ers or somebody, who was talking about running pitches to the running back with inside runs. And one of the things they were saying it helps with is that widens the defense, because normally on a pitch play, when you're pitching it back to the running back, they expect it to be a sweep or going to the outside. In this case, you can see it affects this linebacker here. I think that's Alec Ogletree, 44, where he works to the outside hard because of that pitch action, and that leads to a cutback lane for Dalvin. Nice block by CJ Ham, fitting up 91 there. So yeah, interestingly, because that is really interesting. So I'm not sure. This must be just an adjustment to Roquan Smith, who's been attacking downhill. I mean, we saw that on the first play of the game where he attacked downhill, because normally you would expect Cleveland and Bradbury to work up to this linebacker on the double team. But in this case, because Smith runs downhill, it seems like the trade-off became Bradbury works to Roquan Smith, and then Ham, rather than having to pick up Smith and walling off, works to 91. Either way, I mean, it's a good adjustment by both of them. Dalvin Cook makes a couple guys miss, gets upfield, gets 8 yards. It's not a bad run play. Okay, this is outside zone based on the action, or it's some sort of zone play. Nice cutoff of that. They probably had numbers in the box on this one, yeah. So right here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defensive linemen. You have 7 blockers, or you have 7 guys in the box, rather, not defensive linemen, right? And you've got 7 blockers from the Vikings. So it's literally just a hat on a hat, and as long as all of these guys execute their blocks, which they do, Dalvin Cook has a lot of room to run. So you can see O'Neal works up. Based on the action, Roquan Smith has to work over this double team. Bradbury and Cole works up to Roquan, does a good job. O'Neal, good job controlling his man, who's really, I think, trying to 2-gap here because he's down a man. But Cook works him inside and then is able to explode outside where he doesn't get a wrap on him. So good job by O'Neal not holding on this play, right? Because when guys go like this and then they cut back across their face, that's where you see a lot of the holding flags. But really nice explosion to get upfield past him before he can come back across O'Neal by Cook. Okay. Run play. Double team doesn't get up to the linebacker, who's Roquan, I think. And then, yeah, they called him forward progress. They blew the play dead before the ball came out. So yeah, this is really okay. This is a double team up to Roquan, but what they need Roquan to do in this scenario is get more to the right, and they need Dalvin to influence him more to the right, because the only chance Bradbury has to get up there is if Roquan flows harder with this play, and he doesn't. So Dalvin plays it pretty tight to the offensive lineman, ends up going right into Roquan. I don't really put that on Bradbury. I think that's more either play design, right? Because you're asking Cleveland to reach this guy, and Roquan's working off of that. And with the way he's flowed fast, you expect him to do that, but he actually still plays it and reads it pretty well there. So, good job by him. Okay, this is like power or something with Wongwu. Yeah, this is power with Wongwu. Somebody loses against 90, but not a bad run, all things considered. So, okay, Cleveland totally whiffs on, again, that's, Roquan Smith being pretty destructive so far. He totally whiffs, but honestly, nice jump cut here to get outside. He's got two basically unblocked Bears players because O'Neal gets beaten inside too. He's got two unblocked Bears players, and he jump cuts outside both of them. Now, Ogletree following Cleveland flows over the top, gets in around the legs, and 64, that's Brandell, loses his block against, I don't know who that was. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so third down again. Kind of similar to previously, but the Bears, instead of having kind of two high safeties like they did last time, have pretty much man coverage across the board here. You've got a single high safety in the middle. He's trying to help anything inside that the Vikings would run. And then all of these guys can potentially come on blitzes. So, if you're the Bears, primarily these guys can't get beat outside, which, as we'll see in a second, happens. So, this is third down. So they don't send everybody. They've got Smith blitzing over the middle. They've got Smith being the whole player over the middle. This is really just cover one man with a rat, or whatever you want to call that. Yeah, that's a rat. So linebacker, whole player in the middle, a rat. Safety, whole player in the middle is a robber. So these guys are just zoning in the middle, taking away any crossers. 15, that's Amir Smith-Marset, would be free if he was blitzing, but obviously he's not. But really the problem for the Bears on this one is this corner needs to take outside leverage on Justin Jefferson and prevent him from doing anything outside. He does not do that. If we watch Jefferson's route here, you can see he goes a little bit outside, and then this step right now is very important to get the corner to bite inside. So he gets the corner to respect him vertical, or, not respect him to the outside, which again, this is the Bears playing with a bunch of practice squad players, so that's probably part of this. But he really needs to wall off anything potential to the outside. He has help on the inside from this safety. But Justin Jefferson just makes him look silly, scores a touchdown. He's awesome. So that was a great route by Jefferson to do that to the corner. Pretty good rep here by Darisaw. Quinn is really fast around the edge, and he gets both hands on him, really displaces him, gets vertical, does a really nice job. Christian Darisaw. Mason Cole struggling a little bit, but he does anchor eventually here, so that keeps Kirk Cousins clean. Really pretty decent job in pass protection. Kickoff. Start at the 25-yard line. Here we go. Here's another explosive run play. All right. So we have, looks like split zone. So split zone characteristics, offensive line all moving to the right. You have this tight end coming back across the formation, blocking back to... So on zone plays, everybody's going to the right. So it's probably these two players working on Tomlinson up to Barr as a double team. These two players working on Pierce up to Kendricks. Him, trying to reach Wanham to the outside here. And then Sheldon Richardson would normally be unblocked off the edge. Split zone, you bring this player 85 back and block Sheldon Richardson to kind of give yourself a lane for a cutback here. The motion up front, they got to respect this jet motion, so it widens Barr out even further. He plays it kind of slow. You can see tight end coming across the formation against Sheldon Richardson. Just like I said, he would be unblocked. Kendricks and Barr here. So Kendricks flows initially with that, and then he's watching the tight end, and he flows hard outside with the tight end. Now, they both got too far outside, so this is actually on Kendricks, I think. He needs to, instead of going outside the tight end's gap, go inside of it. So he flowed too hard on this play. To me, that's on him. Wide open hole there. Sheldon does a decent job, but that's actually on Kendricks missing the fit. Which doesn't really happen to him too often. Like, on those plays, he's normally really good and right in the hole. But, it happens, I guess. Okay, here we go. I mean, another... You would expect Eric Kendricks to normally make this play. He just doesn't get the tackle there behind the line of scrimmage. So, he's reading the running back. Good job by both Tomlinson and Richardson to squeeze. Tomlinson is the one being double teamed, but Richardson kind of helps squeeze it, where these two players are trying to work up to Kendricks, but they can't do anything. So you've got three players blocking two Vikings defenders. That's an advantage for the Vikings. Barr's filling this gap. Kendricks needs to get outside. And he gets a hand on him. He's just not able to bring him down. Kenzie Alexander, decent play in run defense. Okay, got a couple pullers. And this is a kind of jet sweep action. Again, Barr is there. We just don't quite make the tackle, and he gets a few yards after the play. So far defensively, I mean, the Vikings have been in position. I don't think Kendricks was out of position in the one play. The last couple plays have been out executed a little bit. Barr in space, not as fast as 17, whoever that is. Is that Jakeem Grant? Oh, that is Jakeem Grant. Okay. I'm sorry, Demir Bird is 10. He's the other small, fast wide receiver that the Bears have. Well, Darnell Mooney too, but... Okay, this is awesome by Michael Pierce right here. Like, I'm so glad he's back. He's been phenomenal. So, right here, he is trying to reach Pierce on this play. He's trying to get over and get in front of him. Pierce just takes one hand, swipes him to the ground. His momentum's already going that way. So Pierce reading the guard, cutting back, reading the guard here, right? He probably notices the guard flash across his face. Both of these guys go down. He's able to just swipe him, get upfield, get to the running back before anything can happen. Really nice play. So this one here, you see Harrison Smith raising his hand. You see Cameron Dantzler raising his hand. You see Mac Alexander raising his hand. The secondary is all communicating. I think that something in this situation led them to believe there was going to be an outside run. So this is a read option play. Read option, pretty standard. Justin Fields is watching Sheldon Richardson on this play, and if Sheldon Richardson plays it close to the line of scrimmage, it goes down the line of scrimmage like he's following the running back, Fields keeps the ball, right? Which he does in this case, right? So Sheldon goes for the running back, Fields keeps the ball, but Barr was playing outside leverage because I think they were alerted to it. Smith has been playing outside leverage, so Barr gets back, and then really nice job by Dantzler driving on this. I do think that Fields, I think this is really kind of a triple option play. I think Fields has the option to throw out to this flat, right? This player's kind of looking at it. And it's not the best numbers, but I kind of think he has it a little bit because, honestly, Dantzler is either driving on this, and Fields would have to throw out right now. He either has to drive on this or he has to drive on Fields. And, okay, so he does play it to the outside here, where he would be able to drive on the receiver and make that tackle. But instead, really nice job getting upfield, gets kind of a shoulder into the ball from Fields. That's bad ball security by Justin Fields right there. I don't think Dantzler really did anything special to strip it, but it's just kind of a bad play by Fields. Barr picks it up. Good stuff. But good recognition by the defense beforehand, knowing something was up. Good job driving on the ball by Cam Dantzler. Okay, so we have... Oh boy. This is where kind of the problem started. So let's see what we've got for Kirk. Is that a dig route? Okay. So really this concept to the bottom of the screen, it seems like a curl with a basic or a dig coming across the middle. Nothing here on this side, and that's the side he's looking to first. So he does have a hole shot up to the top here with Amir Smith-Marset. This is cover 2 by the Bears, where you got 2 deep safeties. This corner's playing the flat route, obviously. He lets Smith-Marset go, and Cousins has this hole shot. But that's not a miss by Cousins, because that's not where he starts his read on the play. I am kind of interested because... I think probably he's starting the left because he's got Justin Jefferson and KJ Osborne to the left, and those are clearly his 2 best options in the passing game. I'd be interested to see what makes him start to the left, just based on the coverage shell. It does look like cover 2. I would think if you do identify cover 2 and you have a vertical route here, that would kind of be, a alert in your brain, like something that comes off, because you're really... Like, with this route concept here, I don't know what you're really aiming for. I guess you're putting stress on this linebacker right here, but you're not, like, you've got the mic too, and you're not occupying the mic to the right side of the formation at all. So I don't really get that. But on the back end, obviously not a great block by Mason Cole. So he just gets, like, long-armed out of existence here, basically. Like, Akeem Hicks is a really long player. Like, he's got massive arms. I don't think Mason Cole has all that long arms. Just a one arm pushes him off. Cole's not able to get his hands on him, and he swims up, or he rips inside, gets under that arm, lifts it up, gets past him. Right? So that's a rip move. Just long arm into a rip move, gets inside, nice pass rush. Cousins has no chance. This was kind of a fun run. So the Bears are really, and I don't know if this is a stunt inside or what's going on, but they're not expecting the Vikings to run a draw back to the side, obviously, because this edge rusher takes an inside path, and that absolutely kills the play for them on defense. There's nobody there, really, with this edge rusher taking an inside path, the linebacker should scrape over. Like, that should be kind of like a stunt or an exchange, but he doesn't do that. So it's actually easy for him to get caught up by Cleveland here. So this guy coming inside and the linebacker also coming inside, like, I don't know if they called a game on the defensive line and your defensive tackle was supposed to scrape over to the left side, but it just did not work at all. And you know what? That's actually probably what it was. So probably what they really want is they think this is a pass play and they're blitzing Roquan Smith. So they blitz him through the A gap. They blitz 99. They stunt 99 through the B gap, and they're trying to get 98 coming across and around and confuse the offensive line. But the draw works like 100% into the Vikings' favor on this play because Darisaw can just collapse that guy down, and Cleveland has basically Roquan runs directly into Cleveland because that's what he's supposed to do on the stunt. Just a kind of a lucky play call by the Vikings into what the Bears are doing, or an unlucky play call by the Bears, but you'll love to see it, so can't really complain. I don't know if Ezra Cleveland is good is necessarily the takeaway from that, but he's been good this year, in general. He's definitely been a positive contributor to the Vikings. Okay, so this one they get, Tyler Conklin. Actually, this shouldn't have been a penalty at all, by the way. That was a perfectly clean hit by the Bears defender. It kind of sucked that they got called for this. I mean, well, that's good for us, right? But again, you've got Conklin one-on-one matchup against a linebacker. He actually wins this one, and he would catch it if not for the hit, but the hit wasn't dirty, so whatever. They clearly wanted to target Alec Ogletree because he's bad, as I have mentioned, but doesn't get a whole lot of separation. Pretty well defended on the vertical route there. And then the hit comes in and knocks the ball loose, but they get a penalty because, I don't know, the refs are blind. Yeah, at least we have one of the guards down for a while. Mystical, after the last couple games, not so great. Not feeling awesome about that. But I will say that it is nice to have. I really feel like, we have 3 of the 5 pieces at least, and I still like Bradbury on the offensive line. So I really feel pretty good about it in general. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it's like moving forward. Okay, outside zone. Really nice hole there. I mean, that's a fantastic job blocking that up by the Vikings offensive line. Okay, so kind of again, you have 8 blockers for the Vikings, right? 5 offensive linemen, 3 others, and you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the corner, kind of. Is that a slot corner? Jesus, what are the Bears? I guess they do have 7. So the Vikings are in 22 personnel. And they've got 7 defensive line and linebacker types, so that's all right. But again, one-on-one, and you really don't need to block this backside. We're in an outside zone to the left, so these 2 are kind of out of the picture entirely. You got the 2 safeties through the roof. Really nice look to run on. Bradbury double team up to the linebacker. That's a nice job latching onto your target at the second level. Technique-wise, getting under here, helping Cole get onto the block, getting under and getting upfield, and landing on that linebacker. That's not easy to do. You see the backside. Honestly, there's no one from Herndon to block, so he just can kick that guy out. Now, you'd probably like to seal him off a little bit, but he doesn't even affect Cook and Cook gets up to the safety level with ease. Like, that was nice. Power. First down. So second and short. Run power. I'd like to see now. I don't know if the decision is, based on the body type that he's blocking, because 43, I guess, is Khalil Mack's brother somehow. And, he is an edge rusher type more than a linebacker. Ham obviously going to your knees to try to make a block is not like great technique. So I don't know if he's trying to just cut him or what it is, but you'd like to see Ham kick 43 out and leave a hole up the middle rather than forcing Cook to cut outside, because I think there's more yardage if he kicks him out rather than forcing him to cut outside. I guess that was the end of the first quarter. We're on the second quarter. Oh, one thing I didn't note is apparently, I don't know who Nick got his all-22 from, but this is awesome because we don't have the normal crappy, terrible Bears angle that we usually have. I can't believe we actually got the good all-22 angle from the Bears stadium. So that's nice. Okay, so this is just trust your tight end to win up the seam, which hasn't worked at all so far this game, but we're going to keep doing it because one thing about what you cannot say that Kirk Cousins does not trust his players no matter who he's throwing to. Like, he really has shown a lot of trust in pretty much everybody he's throwing the ball to this year. So yeah, I mean, this is basically, he wants the one-on-one matchup. It gets undercut by the corner. Like, this could be an interception. 27 had a nice game, but like, man, I don't really agree with this throw. I don't think that Conklin did enough to get this player's hips turned outside. Like, he doesn't do enough going to the outside here to justify throwing this ball. Now, Kirk's already made the decision by the time he does that, so he's basically just trusting his guy to win. But Conklin doesn't really do a great job of influencing that, so that is not great. They have... Conklin's been a pretty good receiver for us this year. Like, he's been solid as a tight end. And Kirk has a lot of trust in his guys, and we kind of have to at this point. Like, our only weapon outside of that is Justin Jefferson. And if we go back to this last play, right, like, the Bears did for most of the game commit to him pretty heavily, right? So you've got this corner in man, you've got 26, now he's on KJ, but this safety is heavily over to Justin Jefferson, right? And that's what Kirk is looking at. Now, so I really think Kirk's decision pre-snap here is to say, all right, look, we've got single high. These corners to the outside with this condensed formation need to play outside leverage. That means that, okay, so because there's all this space out to the outside, there's something defenses have, and this is cover 3, right? Or it's man coverage, but it's cover 1. There's something defenses have that are called divider rules. So divider rules are based on, and honestly, you can kind of see where they replace the field, right? Where it goes from the darker green to the lighter green, or the grayish almost even. Where if they are inside of that line, right? And it's an imaginary line. It's not actually a line on the field. If they're inside of the divider, the corner has to play outside leverage on the receiver. So in this case, you can see because they're all condensed, the corners have to play outside leverage. What that means is the receivers should have access inside, and you should be able to throw it inside to them, and they have space there. So Kirk has 2 vertical routes. He's got Conklin going on a vertical route, and he's got Jefferson going on a vertical route. Basically, his decision tree here is whichever way the safety goes, I'm going to throw it the other way. So obviously, the safety's going to cheat towards Justin Jefferson on this play. Because he cheats towards Justin Jefferson on this play, Kirk thinks he should have Conklin on the vertical route. That's not actually the case because the corner does a nice job of undercutting it, and Conklin doesn't really sell the outside route all that well. Now, because Kirk kind of predetermined that, you can see the safety started out, right? The safety started out here going to the left. So he starts, and his eyes are on Justin Jefferson, right? He's not looking at Conklin. So that's really a double on Justin Jefferson. So Kirk thinks he has this. If he doesn't kind of predetermine this and he wants to go up top, he has KJ Osborne open up top, and that's, a 5-yard gain. That gets you closer to the end zone. But, he makes the decision. He trusts his guys. Like, that's who he's been as a quarterback this year. And I don't hate it because we were talking for a while, in the middle of the season about how Kirk lacked aggression. And I think he has really turned that dial up the past couple of weeks. I don't think we've really seen the fruits from it, but he's turned that dial up, and I think it's been a net positive for us, for him being aggressive down the field rather than just taking the checkdowns. Or it hasn't really been a positive for us in the last couple of weeks, but I think it will turn into a positive over time because I don't think he's been as accurate as he normally has been the last couple of weeks, is really what I mean to say there. So this is a run play, and I guess they do affect the corner. He tried, so this is kind of funny. This is definitely like the Bears not being, not like having a bunch of backups, but this corner here, he's trying to push somebody out there, but there's nobody out there for him to push. And then the run just got destroyed in the middle. Like if they had, so this is kind of funny because it's kind of a read option fake. It's really an RPO. It's not a read option because Kirk's there, but I don't know if this is an actual true fake. If it is an actual true fake, Kirk absolutely should not have handed this ball off. And this is like potentially a walk-in touchdown by Justin Jefferson. It's definitely an RPO if it's not a true fake, but he's got to be reading Roquan Smith. And Roquan Smith taking that step forward should be throw the football. He's not reading anything at all. Never mind. I don't think he's reading anything at all. So, anyway, on the run play, it's power. Ooh, jeez. Okay. Well, that's not great. Mason Cole and Brian O'Neill try to combo 90, get upfield, and he does not. He doesn't really do a whole lot. Yeah, not well blocked on that play at all. Like 3 guys missed the block. Okay, we motion into bunch. It's 3rd and 10. Kirk gets sacked. Great. So this is a nice power move by Quinn. So we've seen a couple of reps where actually Darisaw has done well, pushing Quinn upfield and getting him blocked upfield on his upfield track. And here he goes speed the power, gets low, gets underneath Darisaw's pads, and Darisaw is unable to anchor. So right here, probably he got out over his feet too much when he leaned into Quinn. Really, Quinn just got a lot better leverage. Knocks him back and right into Kirk. Kirk does have a little space to move over and up into the pocket, but I just don't think he expects Darisaw to get beat that bad. It's not like he really drifts to a direction. So maybe you'd like to see him move up, but that's mostly on Darasol losing that rep, and really nothing open if we go back to the all 22 angle. Really nothing open downfield. So go on to the field goal. We're good. Okay, return from the end zone. Feels like it's been a while. Oh, it feels like we have not played a whole lot of defense so far in this game. Another solid run, though. Let's take a look at this. Okay, this is with Watts and Tomlinson on the field and no Michael Pierce on the field. So the big problem is... Oh, that's Lynch, not Watts. My bad. So, I mean, the big problem is the pull action really gets... This is like counter, except Montgomery doesn't actually cut it back. So if he runs it like counter, I think that this run play is like completely stuffed. But it's a good job by Montgomery to read this, recognize, and understand what he has with his blocking here. Because 67 is working upfield to try to cut off Barr from the backside, but he actually ends up kind of being a lead blocker. I don't think this is the way the run was designed, but it's a nice kind of freelance and read by Montgomery. Gets upfield, Barr brings him down, but it's 9 yards down the field. So, like, the way counter typically works is your running back starts with his footwork away from the play. You're pulling both. It's GY counter or whatever you want to call it. Nick's been on this for the Vikings running this past few weeks. I know he's posted it a couple times on Twitter. You've got both of these guys pulling as lead blockers, and you want Montgomery to follow them and kind of have that. But it's good vision by him, and honestly, the Vikings almost do too good of a job blowing up the play, right? Because James Lynch, I mean, this is a nice run fit if it was run counter. James Lynch is not the one who should be attacking this bowler. Like, this bowler should be able to get around, and 68 should be blocking James Lynch down. Is he pulling too? Okay. I don't know. Maybe this play is like some sort of weird run design where it's supposed to look like counter, which it totally does, and it's not actually counter, and that's what they get from that. And if so, that's just like a great play design and great play call by the Bears. Like, I'm not going to lie, the run game's kind of fun. Okay, I mean, it's 2nd and 1. They do get like 2 yards on this or whatever, but pretty good run defense. Tomlinson forces that upfield. Kendrick's coming over the top. It's just a pile, and 74 kind of trips on his own man. You can see their feet collide right here, right? So he ends up tripping. That's a problem because Montgomery needs to work around that, and Patrick Jones comes back from the backside. Kendrick's here. I mean, this is kind of nice travel by him. He's all the way there. He's able to come around, get in on a play too. So this live, I remember watching this and thinking that Mac Alexander was in pretty good position under Mooney here, and I thought he was going to be able to tip it. You can see he works there initially, then he works back to the second level. This is obviously the boot action that the Vikings run like all the time. So nothing really special, but just good job by Fields fitting it in there past Alexander's outstretched arms. You can see from that angle how close it was. So I don't really think this is bad coverage. So if Fields throws it further out, if he throws it further to the right in front of Mooney, you've got Cam Dancer there. If he throws it, 6 inches to the left, Mac Alexander makes a play on that football. It's just it was a tight window, and he made a nice throw to get it in the tight window to hit his receiver. Another play action boot. So, okay, they just got outrun here. This is Kendricks and Dantzler coming across the formation, bracketing whoever that is. I think it's 10, which is Demir Bird, and he just doesn't make the catch. Like, this is, I guess you want your guys to be faster than that coming across the formation. It's not easy to defend as a defense, somebody running all the way across the formation like that. They've got this route covered. They've got Mooney's route covered. They just don't quite have that route covered because they're not able to keep up with Demir Bird, and the ball hits him in the hands. Like, that should absolutely be a catch. Oh, they called a penalty on Harrison Smith on this play. Right. Let's see what that was about. Okay, yeah, that's kind of hold. I don't think it's that egregious, but it is a hold. So. First down. Dalvin Tomlinson almost making the play on the backside. Who is that, Vigil in there, or is he? Yeah, it's Vigil. Nice. I mean, that's pretty good by Tomlinson, 1-on-1, getting a hand on the guy, and then Vigil in there. Double team works up to Kendricks. Where is... Okay, I think Komet should probably work up to Vigil instead of going for Wanham, but I'm not like an expert in these things. More bootlegs. Good coverage by the Vikings. Kendricks was a little bit close on this one to having a hit to the head. I do think that the way Fields went down in this game a few times, he's just kind of asking for it, right? Because he goes down, but he like twists his body around. He doesn't really go down, And honestly, thinking back to it, this may have been a scenario where the refs were like to Kendricks, hey, and it's hard as a defensive player, I think, but when the refs, when this happens, it could have been the refs were like to Kendricks, hey, like, you gotta watch out and not come near the head on him moving forward in this game, and that could have been the reason why he was ejected. I don't really understand what is going on before the snap. Either there's some sort of miscommunication where Kendricks and Peterson, I don't think that what Kendricks did was dirty at all or like anything like that. It's just, sometimes in the game, the refs will be like, hey, you got to watch out for this and, like, do that sort of thing. But Fields takes some risk, man. And he did that at Ohio State, too. Like, he's very willing to stay in the pocket and take hits, but, like, he doesn't protect himself as well as he probably should as a quarterback or as well as you'd like your quarterback to. This is just, like, spacing, which the Bears apparently run, like, a disgusting amount. Which is just like a bunch of curls, and you're basically just like sitting in zones. And you know what? This is a good concept for third down. Okay, so like, I guess I shouldn't really trash them for running it on third and short, right? It gets Mooney wide open, physical between Barr and Komet there. That's not a penalty or anything, but Dantzler here after this distributes needs to drive harder on that. At the end of the day, it's a 5-yard gain. Like, who really cares? Another a lot of trickery. You know, outside run. This is a nice play by Barr. So Barr wants to force this to cut back inside because he's got the help from Harrison Smith, Phil in the alley, who can read off of Barr, and he's got Wanham inside, so he's got two players there. And he actually is physical enough with the lead blocker, 81. I don't know who that is, but he's physical enough with him that is that Bird or no, that's Mooney. When he tries to cut upfield past him, Barr, doesn't get driven back, and he trips over his feet because he's expecting his blocker to be further out because he's expecting him to get push on Barr, which he does not do. Okay, so got fortunate. Well, so they got a holding call on this play. I think it's against the guy on Sheldon Richardson, and then Sheldon Richardson also just blows up the play. Also a nice play by Michael Pierce. I mean, you can see the displacement that he's getting into the backfield against the center, right? So he starts with his feet at the 11-yard line. That's a full yard into the backfield. That's like really good by a defensive lineman to be able to get that kind of push one-on-one, and that's something that we were missing without him for a while. He's the one who forces that run to be strung out. Sheldon Richardson against 74, also getting upfield. Kendricks, tries to fall back a little bit in case there's a cutback. Barr on the outside, forcing that back. Three guys played well. Oh, and this was the fumble. Right. Sheldon Richardson rips this ball out. I hated this on the broadcast. They didn't show this replay until after the challenge had already been overturned. Like, it was insane to me that they talked about the penalty for 5 minutes, didn't show anything, went to commercial break as soon as Mike Zimmer challenged, didn't come back until after the challenge was over, and didn't actually show anything until, it came back. That was nuts. The production, what are you guys doing? I don't understand. Okay. This is, our typical outside zone bootleg. You've got KJ Osborne coming across the middle, but the key is you have Justin Jefferson as this, you can call it it's a couple different things. It's a sneak route, it's a slide route where he comes back behind the offensive line and is out in the flat here. The Vikings have been running this with wide receivers in the flat more. Traditionally, they've run it with CJ Ham or a tight end in the flat, and I don't like that nearly as much as I like this. It gets a fast player in space against a linebacker. He's able to, get 5 yards on first down. You're definitely okay with that. You're not okay with second down, your run play getting blown up. That's bad. Right, so, this is just... I don't know if... Bradbury points him out before the snap, but it looks like he's trying to work to Smith. So I don't know exactly what the deal here is. Because he's making a call and he points at Ogletree. I don't know if that's a misdirection call or what's happening, but he's definitely trying to get out and block Roquan Smith here. Comes back, isn't able to get back to Ogletree. So I don't really understand what's going on, but the key was Bradbury needs to get on Ogletree and stop him from making a play in the backfield, surprisingly. All right, fade ball, Emil Smith-Marset. I saw some people saying that Kirk needs to throw this long. I think throwing this in this way is probably the best for the wide receiver. If he throws it long, he's got to dive, he's got to work towards the sideline, throwing it back where he can come back to the ball, and like it's clearly what Smith-Marset is expecting. It's just good play by the defender. The other thing here is, right, when you throw it like this, you're oftentimes going to get a defensive pass interference call in that sort of scenario rather than throwing it long. So I don't like hate the ball placement there. But this is another example of us on third down. You know, Kirk just trusts anybody, which I don't think that's a bad quality to have as a quarterback. Like, I think trusting your guys and being willing to be aggressive and take shots is probably a good thing you want your quarterback to have. But also, you know, maybe look towards Justin Jefferson, who is against man coverage on first down. Now, I don't think if this plays to Jefferson, I don't think it works. And maybe that's what the read is. Maybe his thought here is if he has one-on-one coverage here, and this is clearly a robber. So you can see the safeties. It looks like too high at the snap, right? They got two players high. But he is creeping up a little bit prior to the snap, and immediately after the snap, I bet you Kirk's looking at him. He sees this guy rotate deep up here. He sees this guy come over the middle. Jefferson's running a slant here, and he would be open, but this guy would collision him and hit him hard. So as soon as he sees this guy creep down, he's got one-on-one up top, he's got one-on-one at the bottom, and he trusts Ihmir Smith-Marset against the slot corner. I mean, okay, so I think you probably should be able to trust Ihmir Smith-Marset over this set, like against the secondary players the Bears were putting out on the field in that game, because all of those players were like signed off of the street. So you know what? Throw the ball up to anybody. Any of your receivers on your roster should win one-on-one against those guys. In this case, he does not. It's honestly though, it's a really good play by the corner. 27 Thomas Graham or whatever had a fantastic game this game. Like he was definitely playing well. It's not all on him, and you know. That's good technique by him. Really, there are a lot of guys who would get in trouble, get their hands on the guy, and get a pass interference call. He gets his hand in there, is watching the eyes of the receiver, which is what you need to do as a corner. Gets the hand up, but he collisions the hand where Smith-Marset is catching the ball. It's not a penalty. It's just really good defense. You know, Danny Chiz would have been better on this. Dan Chisena, we miss him. He'll be back on Sunday. Oh, Jesus. I forgot how terrible this was. All right, so Grant here catches it at like the 36 or whatever. You know, he gets like 70 yards. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to try to run it all the way back across the formation. Jesus. What a terrible decision. Like, he lost 2 yards on that return when he had a 10-yard gain in the bag. So the Vikings really just got bailed out on that one. This one, I think, so 2 high safeties, right? Harrison Smith, Xavier Woods. I kind of went over that a little bit before, how that gives the offense advantageous numbers in the box. So if they block everybody up, they win, and they get a nice play. And they blocked everybody up, so they win, and they get a nice play. Nice block by Mooney here, who's over to the right, on Mackenzie Alexander, too. Like, that's something you haven't really seen from the Vikings wide receivers. So, yeah, just everybody gets blocked up. And this is Watts and Pierce in the game, it looks like. So Watts gets... See, if this is Dalvin Tomlinson right here, this does not happen. Watts gets driven off the ball like 4 or 5 yards. Dalvin Tomlinson would not get driven off the ball 4 or 5 yards. So probably, you know, this is not the kind of run that it is if you have your best run defense personnel in the game. But, you know, Watts has been pretty impressive as a pass rusher. So you also want to get him in the game and get him reps and rotate guys out, right? Guys get tired on defense. You don't want to play a guy 100% of the snaps. But yeah, pretty good work by Mooney, just stalking Alexander upfield. He kind of works upfield himself, but not too bad. Great play by Michael Pierce here, right? Again, talked about it before. Look, the ball is at the 49-yard line, or whatever you want to call it, like the 49.5-yard line. So he works the center back to the 48, like almost a 2.5, 3 yards back into the backfield is where he works the center. That's really great. It's a really great job by a nose tackle. And then Kendricks comes through, helps make the tackle for the loss. So we'll see the linebackers and stuff from this angle. But, that center's trying to reach Pierce, cannot do it. This double team can't get up to the second level quick enough to Kendricks. Kendricks flows into the play nicely and then, works off of Pierce really well. Like, basically just sticks to Pierce's backside and then follows the running back whichever way he goes. He gets a little bit of help probably with the push from the lineman based on the way Montgomery cuts, but that's good because Kendricks coming in here is what forces Montgomery to go to the right. Otherwise, he wants to cut back to the left, but if he does, you can see he kind of gets a little bit out of sorts. Barr got influenced by the motion a little bit. He does have a lane if he cuts it back, but I think Kendricks might get in and make the tackle if he does try to. So, really good combo of run defense there. Justin Fields probably makes extra yardage on this play with his ability to scramble, right? Because if this is Kirk Cousins right here, Kirk is probably looking to the right, dumping it off, throwing it to the flat, or around here. Or so Fields gets upfield, his receiver works upfield past that. That's probably, he's got momentum going down. That's probably an extra 5 or 6 yards just because Fields working upfield. The concept, double coverage up here on the vertical route, that's covered well. Kendricks on whoever this is coming across. I think that's Mooney coming across, but does a really nice job getting out ahead of it. He doesn't really have much of a chance there. Mac Alexander on 10. Smith on the tight end. Just gets on the flat. That's not a bad coverage play if you're the defense, right? It was a shot play. You covered it well. They got to their check down. They did get yardage, but it's a good job extending the play by Fields. Now it's 3rd and 3. Yeah, so Fields, scrambles, gets the first down. Rush lane integrity, an issue on this play. Sliding with his head up. Yeah, you totally see it. Like, it's basically like he's just sitting straight up when he's on the ground. But so, this is probably a rush lane integrity thing where they want this to kind of be layered, where I think this is Jones and Watts come up with the C and the B gap, and Richardson slides across underneath. But what happens is Watts tries to take his guy inside, and it opens up the B gap for Fields to run through. So to me, that's probably Armin Watts screws up the rush lane integrity by trying to freelance a little bit and make something happen. Right, and at the end of the day, you want your guys to get to the quarterback in the pass rush. So, but against a scrambling quarterback on 3rd down, when you don't get to the quarterback and you don't stay where you're supposed to, it can lead to the ability to run for a first down, right? Which is something the Vikings struggle a little bit with. I mean, we definitely struggled with it in the Lamar game too. Now this, again, it's I don't like You have Justin Fields. Why are you running Wildcat, you idiots? I don't understand why the Bears run Wildcat with Justin Fields. That makes absolutely no sense to me. This is GT counter. You know, the play Oklahoma runs all the time. The Ravens run it all the time. You're reading this defensive end. If he widens out, you hand the ball off to this person who's got a sweep to the outside and he's got a ton of room. Otherwise, you keep the ball running up the middle, right? Defensive end widens out. Great individual play in the middle by Sheldon Richardson. Destroys the pulling guards or destroys the pullers, and you win the rep. So Sheldon Richardson, watch him right here. Unblocked. Guard. Pulling across. Tackle. Pulling across. Gets underneath both of them. Kendricks. This guard's target was Sheldon, right? He is trying to kick Sheldon out. He now gets confused and tries to go back inside. This tackle is supposed to get Kendricks. Because the guard cuts inside, he needs to widen outside. Kendricks gets inside there. Forces a cutback. Sheldon's right there. Guys are able to rally and tackle. Good run defense. Great job by Sheldon. Blue. On this blitz, Barr, crushed. It's a good pass pro by the running back to do enough. That's something that they'll talk about is like if you're a overmatched in pass protection, like you're a running back on or a tight end on a defensive end like Myles Garrett, or you're a running back on a linebacker maybe, you want to die slowly in pass protection so it gives your quarterback time, right? Fields has enough time to hit the top of his drop, slide to the left, take at least a step, and get the ball out. So good job by him, but still Barr, crushes. And that's about as fast as you could expect somebody to beat a block head on like that where he runs a guy over. So good job getting in his way. Could be a sack if he's not able to get the ball out. Kendricks misses the tackle. That's a few mistakes from Kendricks in this game. So, it's a tight end. So Kendricks has to carry the tight end up the field. He lets him go. He sees the underneath, but he's not able to get back there in time, wrap, and make the tackle. So it's 3rd and short. That's absolutely a tackle Kendricks normally makes. He is on the injury report with like a biceps or something, right? So maybe that's affecting his wrap strength or something like that. Who knows? Lots of dudes. Oof. Tevin Jenkins. I like Tevin Jenkins a lot coming out. He's obviously had a rough couple games, but you get him here. Rookie, hard count. I know this is a hard count. A little bit jumpy. And he didn't that's about you feel bad for the offense. I don't understand how those guys can do it, stand there and just not move at all. Just the tiniest movement. Got him. 3rd down, run play, 3rd and medium. This probably says I'm going to go for it on 4th down if you run this play. But try to get guys outside. It's a sweep. Pin and pull, kind of. So pins the defensive end. Tackle pulls outside of it. Nice job by Jenkins getting outside, getting on Barr. But Harrison Smith taking on a block here, defeating that, getting in on the play is the key on the defense. Really nice play by Harrison Smith. David Montgomery out there lead blocking. But that was good by Harrison. Force the 4th down, right? Yeah, that's 4th down. Oh my goodness. That's right. It is incredible to me. So this is like a mirror image of the Amir Smith-Marset not catch, right? That I think we just saw from the Vikings on their last offensive play, where you've got a guy, and this is one where I'd throw it further, although maybe the way they've played it is back shoulder, right? So he still wants to throw it back shoulder. But you got the wheel route against Vigil. Vigil gets up there, gets his arm in his face the exact same way that Graham just did on what's his face on Smith Marset. You know, that's like the same play, and yet Montgomery, freaking running back, comes up with the catch. Like, it happened to us like 4 times against the Steelers last week. It's just, it seems like an unlucky streak that I think is unlikely to continue. I don't think it's really like a technique thing or a skill level thing from the Vikings that's an issue. I really just think it's more just a luck thing, honestly. Like, I think that'll come back to normal. So this right here is a little bit fun. It's a DJ Wanham, like, being really athletic is what makes this play. So he's unblocked because they want this to be a screen. So this is a design screen to 8, right? Williams. So you can see tackle and center of release there. Wanham is, so, you know, he was drafted. They're like, oh yeah, he's like Danielle Hunter because he's like really long and big and stuff and athletic or whatever. And this is the reason why Fields can't throw this ball, because Wanham is so tall, basically, right? So they're trying to get a screen here, but he can't. And Fields isn't small either. He's like 6'3", you know, he's a big dude. He's trying to jump and lob it over him, but he just can't. He knows he can't do it, so he takes a big sack. I don't think that this is, you know, Fields' fault for taking this sack. Maybe you want him to change his arm angle and just throw it at the dude's feet right when Wanham goes up, but it's hard to ask him to do that in this case, right? Maybe you say, all right, this is dead. We just dirt it. You know, not bad recognition by Pierce either, flowing with this running back, seeing it and getting to the outside. He'd have a chance to make the play there. But Wanham, you know, getting up there, making the play and wrangling him, and simultaneously, it was like really nice. Did he fumble this ball? Yeah, he did. I forgot about that. Jumped on it. It took him a while to realize that one too, I think. This is... Well, okay, so it's bunch defense, so they're going to have to do some weird stuff to get it done, but... Oh, it's also freaking... Why do you want... Okay, so, like... This is 2 tight ends and a running back out to this side, and that out to that side. If you're throwing it to this side, it's going to be a screen. Otherwise, you got, like, a couple corners out here. Like, none of these guys are winning one-on-one, because you got Eric Kendricks in coverage, too. So if you're throwing it quick here, it's going to be a screen, and the Vikings read it well. You know, all of them attack it. Xavier Woods doesn't have anybody blocking him. He makes the tackle in open space. You know, good job breaking down, making the tackle in open space. Get some nice effort by Tomlinson there, too. But just like, I don't know, obvious play call to me. Jesus. Now this is a tough throw by Fields. Like, with a lineman worked into his lap, throws it through maybe Armin Watts' hands to the outside. You have to drive this football. This is not an easy throw. Like, this is why Justin Fields was a top, you know, an early first round pick, and why it's kind of disheartening that the Bears got him. Now, this is what, 3rd and, you know, 30, but really tough, nice throw. If you're Dantzler, you're more worried about protecting sticks and not getting beat deep, so I don't really care about that from him. You know, it would have been nice for them to not complete this pass and be further away from field goal range, but it is what it is. Nice job by Watts, right, driving James Daniels right back into Fields. That's a nice pass rush, but just doesn't get his hand on the ball or whatever. Really tough throw, really tough standing in the pocket there by Fields. So that was good stuff. Field goal, good, right? Yeah. Oh, like I don't understand why teams have been kicking the ball off, giving Kene Wongwu a chance to return kicks. It just doesn't seem like a smart business decision anymore to me. Uh, the first play of the game, like the opening kickoff was returnable, and he brought that one back to like the 22 or 23, which is a win for the kick coverage team. But he like broke 2 or 3 tackles doing it. Like it was a really impressive run back still. Here, he gets out to the 35. So you got 2 kickoffs in this game, right? And those are the only 2 kickoffs that they had. And one was returned to the 35 and one was returned to the 22. So you're losing on average on that kickoff return game. Maybe don't kick the ball off to. Actually, please, teams, continue to kick the ball off to him. I would like the Bears to keep Matt Nagy as their head coach, and I would like other opposing teams to continue to kick the ball to Kene Wongwu on kickoffs and let him return it. I don't think either of those two options are very smart for those other people, but they're good for the Vikings, so let's keep it that way. So this one, very obvious KJ Osborne in the flat. I'd almost like Kirk to get rid of this ball faster, right? He pats it for half a second. And I don't know if he's trying to influence somebody. Maybe? No. No, and you can see, like, the Bears care a lot about Justin Jefferson, right? This is Justin Jefferson, 2 guys, linebacker, corner. That's partly zone coverage, whatever, but very obviously, like, when KJ goes to the flat, this guy has to drive on it. He's playing more cloud, so he's playing deeper, but he doesn't do a good job driving on it. KJ gets the ball. First down. Maybe first down. Oh, this was a 2-minute drill. This was the first 2-minute drill. That was actually a positive first down play on the first 2-minute drill. Boy. Okay, so, obviously this is on Christian Darrisaw, not getting the pass block, not really pass protecting well. Let's take a look at this end. So he gets his hands beat where he's late with his hands and Quinn is first, right? So you would like to see him get his hands on Quinn and control him. Quinn gets his hands and is able to rip underneath. But this is, that's like freaky Von Miller, like 2 people in the NFL can do this kind of bend and turning the corner and getting around there. Like that is like absolutely absurd what Robert Quinn does on this play in terms of a pass rush. Like just the ability to get that low, turn that corner, get his hand up there. Just crazy. Good job, Darrisaw. Obviously you made the mistake. You let up the strip stack, fall on the ball. But that's like a rare, and Robert Quinn, first round pick, won Defensive Player of the Year like his second year in the league or something like that. Because he's a really freaking good pass rusher. This was going to go to KJ again, it looks like. Right, so you got KJ and Jefferson stack release, corner playing off, and this is 2 minutes, so that's why they're playing off. Jefferson on the dig. I don't think Kirk was going to throw that. I hope Kirk wasn't going to throw that. If Kirk was going to throw that, that could have been a pick. Oh, he totally was going to throw it. Huh. Maybe it would have been okay. I don't know. Would have had to see it. So what is this, 3rd down now? Oh my god, this is this play. Oh my goodness. Okay, so look, I understand that Justin Jefferson, like, gets held here, and I think that's a hold, right? He catches him, and also their feet get tangled, which their feet getting tangled, when a player is beat this bad, like this corner is beat in this case. Like he got kind of roasted. And he's holding on to Justin Jefferson, and maybe he hits his heels with his feet. But he's in such bad position here. And I am overstating that a little bit, but he is like totally stacked. Like Justin Jefferson is totally a full body in front of him. That's not a place you want to be as a corner. I understand why Kirk Cousins thinks that this is a penalty, and because he sees Justin Jefferson go down, he thinks this is a penalty, and he just lobs the ball up into the air. But I hate the decision to just throw the ball up in the air because of exactly what happens. They don't get the penalty call and it turns into an interception. Throw something where you're not just handing it to the defender. You can throw this ball so it is out of play, right? So it is not catchable by a Bears defender. There's so much space to throw this ball so it's not catchable by a Bears defender. And if you just do that, it doesn't turn into an interception. Like, I understand that you thought it was a penalty, and I agree that it should have been a penalty, and it never should have been an interception because they should have thrown a flag. But at the same time, like, you know, not every penalty is called in the NFL that actually was a penalty. So you can't just do that and expect to get what you wanted, you know, every single time. Like, if you physically see the refs throw the laundry, that's a little bit different. But in this case, you know, you can't just give it to them like that. So it's like, I understand where Kirk came from making that decision, but it's just still a bad one, in my opinion. Excuse me. All right, so, you know, here we go. 2 minutes before the half, right? We already allowed 3 points. We're going to allow more because we just threw an interception. That's how it works, right? That's how the Vikings work this season. This is a tough ask on Kendricks, right? He is in the middle here. He's faking a blitz. He needs to get outside. Montgomery, you know, runs an outside flat route. Good job by Kendricks making the tackle. It's still a gain. It gets out of bounds. But it was just a difficult coverage assignment for him, and he executed it about as well as you can ask anybody to execute it. Here, really nice job by Harrison Smith on attacking the flat, right? He sees Montgomery come out, immediately needs to attack it, and this is something the Vikings have struggled with in these scenarios, is letting guys get out of bounds, right? It's been a huge issue for them. So here, turning around and making the play is massive for the defense. Okay, here we have, you know, more guys up on the line of scrimmage, but not really a blitz look, just trying to set the protections, prevent them from double teaming one of your guys. Quick throw to the outside. The broadcast talked about this a little bit. You know, this is either Montgomery gets too far upfield, and I don't know what the steps or what the rules or any of that stuff are for this, or Fields throws it too flat towards the outside. My guess is that it's on the running back, right? But one of the two was wrong, and then it leads to a field goal, which they miss, right? 49-yard field goal, wide right, or something like that. Oh, yeah, that's right. Field goal was blocked. Dalvin Tomlinson in there getting a hand on the ball, short of the goal line. Does that go? I'm curious. Does that actually go on the record? I'm going to look this up right now. Does that go on the record as a block kick because it went past the line of scrimmage? I know. What was it in this game? There was the blocked punt, or the punt that the Bears got the hand on, that didn't actually count as a blocked punt because it was kicked. Yeah, okay, it does count as a block, at least in the game log. It counts as a block. I just pulled it up on Pro Football Reference. So I forget what the timing right now was. Not a lot of time left. for the Bears. Or not the Bears, the Vikings, for the Vikings. Trying to go quick. Like, I just mentioned this, right? So on these flat routes, the Vikings have, on defense, done a terrible job of tackling guys before they get out of bounds, right? We've seen that the past 2 weeks against the Lions and the Steelers. And they do a terrible job themselves of actually getting out of bounds and stopping the clock. Like, at that point, you'd rather he just not catch the pass if he's not going to be able to get out of bounds. So it's really been a frustrating part of our offense/defense in the 2-minute situations all year. Okay, I mean, this is just we are trying to take a deep shot to get in the field goal range and go out of bounds. And, it's not a bad throw by Kirk. It's just not quite there. This one, to me, is kind of like the one in the end zone last week, Justin Jefferson, where it just missed his outstretched arms against double coverage. Like, there's a very tight window in where you can throw this ball where it actually makes sense, and Kirk throws it very close to that window, or like almost perfectly, and it's just not quite enough for Jefferson to be able to catch it. This was a throw, right? This wasn't a Hail Mary that Kirk threw away. This was a designed, we want to run out the clock, throw away. It was like, all right, there are 5 seconds left. We're not, which I think, I get why they don't want to risk anything. But with 5 seconds left on the clock, I don't really think you're going to get sacked within 5 seconds, Kirk Cousins. I sure hope you're not going to get sacked within 5 seconds. And with that being the case, I think you could be able to load up and take a Hail Mary shot here. Now, that's a long Hail Mary, right? It's going to be at least 55 yards in the air, but Kirk has the arm to be able to do that.